Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I invite you with great pleasure to join me to take a brief visit to the jungles of Wani with me. I hope it will not be tough and boring. Forces involved is as shown on the screen. Wani theatre of operations was broadly dictated by 3 lead roads and 2 lateral roads as shown on the slide. Road network connecting population centers and isolated villages was a great concern during planning stages. Primary and secondary jungles, waterways, tanks, and cultivated lands hindered day maneuver of foot and mechanized infantry. Lack of motorable roads and tracks made build-up of combat power, logistics, and especially the Cassivac complex. At times, casualties were evacuated purely on human back for 8 to 10 kilometers rearward. Major reservoirs, as shown on the screen, were of strategic and tactical value. Hence, said terrain imperatives had a major impact on the planning and execution of Wani operations. France, Central Front. The Jaffna A9 road dominated the Central Front. Densely populated areas, as shown on the screen, were of advantage to the terrorists in sustenance. Western Front, moderately populated axis dominated by Mana Punurin A32 road and the sea on its flank, western flank, was open to Sea Tiger interference, where the LTT enjoyed trouble-free logistics and movement of reserves. Eastern Front. Lateral tracks and heavy fortifications of the Andankulam Forest Reserve was the key concern, besides the other terrain essences including Nayaru, Nandikada lagoons, which forced the utilization of armor. The sea to the eastern flank was used by the Sea Tigers to their advantage. Northern Front. Volatile nature of a narrow strip of land having extremes exposed to the sea and lagoon posed disadvantages to security forces. Terrain features of marshes, mangroves, lagoons, scrub jungles, open areas and sand dunes blended with mines and fortifications favored terrorists. Threat. The threat in the northern operations was as follows. Strength. The estimated fully fledged LTT combatant strength reported to be 18,000 at the time of launching of the operation. As operations progressed in early 2008, with the forceful recruitment of approximate 8,000 civilians, the strength increased up to approximate 26,000 cadres. As per the intelligence estimate, it was confirmed that approximate 21,500 cadres were battling at the later stage of the battle. Capabilities. Following are the broadly summarized LTT capabilities. Operating in small groups. LTT cadres were capable of operating in small groups due to the terrain familiarity. Launching counterattacks. With the thorough knowledge of terrain disposition, and strength of own forces, the LTT had the capability of launching concentrated attacks and counterattacks. Night movement, capable of operating at night due to light nature of the combatants operating in own areas. Combat multipliers of the LTT. The LTT had achieved a level of independence and self-reliance in providing the necessary support required for its land and sea operations. Sea Tigers. The LTT possessed its own sea fighting capability, which was known as the Sea Tiger Wing. Air capability. The LTT developed its air wing to challenge the air superiority of the Sri Lankan Air Force. Indirect fire capability. The LTT possessed an accurate and concerted indirect fire capability through pooling of fire assets and deployment of cadres on observer duties at very close range. Black Tigers, a unique weapon of the LTT used extensively against both security forces and civilians. Heavy weapons. 122, the LTT heavy arsenal included missiles up to 122 millimeter, 152 millimeter, 130 millimeter, guns, multi-barrel rocket launchers, and of armored vehicles. Campaign. Concept of operations. Intent. The intent of the operation was to degrade the LTT combat efficiency, liberate people and areas held under the clutches of LTTE in order to re-establish state mechanism, normalcy, and sustainable peace in a sovereign state. Scheme of maneuver. In the scheme of maneuver, the security forces were to accomplish the following as shown on the screen. Main effort to separate and rescue innocent civilians held hostage and liberate areas held by the LTT. With the success achieved in the East, it was decided to open up a frontage in the Vanni Theatre as well, in order to compel the LTT to commit their resources in multiple thrusts. The concept of operations, which was based on maneuverist approach, intended to achieve simultaneity, maintain tempo, and retain initiative through preemption and dislocation of its resources and disruption of the LTT operational plans. By then, in the Northern Theatre, own troops were manning an approximately 11 kilometers long defended poster running from Kilali to Nagarkoil via Muamale, and approximately 140 kilometers long defended area from Mana to Kokutuduai via Omante in the south. In this backdrop, 5-7 Division, with the first offensive formation raised in the Vanni Theatre, launched its operations on 5th March 2007 along 3 axes from Vavuniya-Mana line of defense. Initial confrontations took place in the primary jungle, thus restricting effective use of armor and artillery as important firepower multipliers. When selecting axes or approaches, built-up areas were carefully left out from initial engagements in accordance with zero casualty to the civilians policy. During initial stages, own troops suffered considerable amount of attrition, and on 2nd June 2007, forward positions held by own troops in the axis along Iruniruppaikulam-Mullikulam and Iruniruppaikulam-Vilatikulam roads came under heavy counterattacks of the LTTE, forcing troops to retreat to the previously held lines of defense with considerable number of casualties. After assessing the situation, troops adopted new tactics, techniques, and procedures. In that, small groups with an approximate distance of 400 to 500 meters between them operated approximately 2 to 4 kilometers ahead of the strongly held defense line, or what was termed as the baseline, to cause attrition and preempt terrorist operational plans. Once the area ahead of the baseline was cleared of terrorists, baseline was shifted forward, conforming to the theater plan by maneuvering the main force. Thereafter, 57 Division continued to operate a wider front by deploying number of small groups, thus maintaining the minimum force ratio required to destroy terrorists. However, the remaining avenues to the west and to the east of the regional frontage was not exploited, as it was necessary to leave safe corridors open for civilian movements and uninterrupted supply of essential items to civilians in the LTTE controlled areas, especially the food convoys along the A9 road under the arrangement of ICRC and UN agencies. Civilians were informed, encouraged, and requested to leave the combat zone through every possible way of communication. United Nations agencies and other agencies too supported this effort greatly. However, LTTE continued to use civilians as a human shield, and they prevented civilians from leaving the area by deploying armed cadres in entry-exit points at Omante and Uilankulam on their side. Acting against all odds, civilians started crossing into own areas commencing from March 2007, which continued till the termination of humanitarian operations. On 3rd September 2007, Silamature, an important township, was liberated in order to establish a secure staging area for the future operations by the special forces supported by the infantry. Meanwhile, Task Force 1, which was later redesignated as 5-8 Division, was launched by mid-September 2007 to maneuver in a northwardly axis along the western coast, thus compelling the terrorists to divide their resources. The slow progress experienced in the initial stages of the campaign can be attributed to several aspects. Before giving out these reasons for that, let me show you the defensive layout of the LTTE at the initial stages on ground. Reasons for slow progress is as shown on the screen. However, overcoming all these obstacles, troops of 57 Division valiantly captured Periyathampane village on 24th December 2007. By January 2008, 59 Division was also raised in Valoya with the intention of drawing terrorists in the Andamkulam Forest Reserve, commonly known as the Mullaitivu jungles.